So a lot of you guys been asking me, or at least some of you guys have been asking me how I color grade my footage. So I thought I'd just make this simple video going through how I color grade. It's actually very simple. I have a feeling some of you might be disappointed in how little I actually do with the footage. And it's also very specific, so I pretty much color grade every footage the same way. But maybe there's something for you guys to learn. I'll be specifically showing you how I color grade Vlog. So let's get into the DaVinci Resolve. The first thing I do is that I go to Effects, and I go to Toolbox Effects, and Effects, I make an adjustment clip. And this adjustment clip I put over the whole timeline, over the footage. And this adjustment clip, you'll see, will be my total look, or my overarching look. So all the clips will have the same effects. I'll be putting on a lot and some other things over it. So we'll first do that, and then I'll be doing smaller adjustments on each clip afterwards. So let's just go into the color grading tool. Make sure that you've highlighted adjustment clips. And then I'll make, let's say, what's happened here? Okay. I'll make 4 adjustment clips, or no, nodes. And the first one, or on the second one, I'll add a color space transform. We're working with Vlog. So first I'll do Panasonic V-gamut. And then I'll do Panasonic Vlog. Now you can see it looks kind of like how it's supposed to. And then I'll go output gamma. I'll pick Cineon Film Log. The reason why I do this is that I'm now going to put on a film look LUT that comes natively with DaVinci Resolve. So, and that it works best when they want you to put a Cineon film log first, a flat image, to make it work as good as possible. So this will be we can label it as CST. So first we'll just focus on these two. Later on, or maybe not this time, but not as much anymore, but I used to put grain here, and then I put like a glow here. I'll just do that now. Grain, and then I'll do glow. We will get to these two later. And then this will be my LUT. And then I go to LUTs, I go to film looks, and I'll put the Rec 709 Kodak 2383 D65. I always pick this one. Okay, as you can see, we have already we're quite there. Looks pretty nice, especially if you've exposed correctly. Now we'll go and adjust each clip individually. So we'll do this one first. I'll do 4 nodes. The first one will be exposure. The second one will be temperature. And the last one, or the third one, will be saturation. This one will actually be, let's call this temperature plus tint. And then this one will be contrast. But I don't usually do that much in contrast anyways. And actually, if I'm being honest, for this tutorial, I'm doing, a node for each step. But when I actually work, by myself, I should just have everything in one node. Okay, so first exposure. I don't really touch the primaries. I always go to HDR, and I only touch the global. But if you see here, it looks good when you drag it up and down. But what I usually do, let me just take away the clips, is that I go on these 3 dots here, and I go on color space, Panasonic V gamut, gamma, Panasonic Vlog. So now they know, the program now knows what footage or codecs or camera I've been using. So now when I drag up and down the exposure, it will be more correct to how the footage would behave, how the Panasonic Vlog would behave. Okay, so this is a little bright. I think I'll just turn it down a little bit. Perhaps something like this. I just use my eyes. Obviously, we could turn on this one. But I'll just use my eyes for this. And then I think this looks fine. Then this is good. I'll just go over to temp plus tint. What do we think about this? I think it's actually somewhere like this. I think maybe it was good as it was, but and then on tint, is it a little red? Maybe I'll add in a little bit green, but not a lot. Okay. So I often find that Vlog sometimes has too much saturation. I don't really like to push the colors too much. So what I do in the saturation node is that I bring the saturation all the way down, and then I actually tend to just hold my hand over the saturation. I don't want to look at it. I just look directly at the image, and then I bring up the saturation until I think it looks fine. Okay. Let's look. Something like that. Yeah. So you can see a little more color, a little less color. Maybe we'll add a little bit more color, but not a lot. Okay. I think that looks decent. And actually, what I'll then do, I think I'm finished with color grading. So it's a little bit boring because I don't really do that much. But this is usually how I color grade. I'd say 99% of all my clips. Because you usually color grade many clips, and if you spend a lot of time, fine-tuning, it'll take a lot of time. And sometimes, this is H.264. You can play a lot with it, but it's not as good as RAW. So you shouldn't push it too much. Okay, let's do another clip. Let's do next clip. What I sometimes do, if I've already done a color grade on one clip, I'll actually just click on it here on the clips. Command C. Command V. How does that look? Already? Oh, sorry. It's not that good. We'll do like that. Okay. I think it already looks quite nice. I'll actually bring up the saturation to normal just so I can see what I'm working with. Okay. I'll go back to exposure. It already looks quite nice, but I'll just, just bring it perhaps up a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks nice. Go back to temp. Maybe you make a little bit more blue. Yeah, and then perhaps, I think it's a little too red. I'll add a little bit more green. Or too magenta, I'd say. Something like that. And then I go back to saturation, bring it down again to 0, and just do a quick. This one, yeah. So I think some people might find it a little too desaturated, but in my opinion, I think it looks a little bit more professional. I like holding a little bit more back than, than pushing it too much. I think if you push it too much, it's a bigger chance it'll look more unprofessional. And I've gotten, a lot of compliments about the color grade, so I think it seems to work. I'll do one more clip, I think. I'll do a anamorphic clip, because a lot of you guys been asking about how I edit anamorphic clips. So, or how I de-squeeze the image. So what I do is I go to clip attributes, right click on it, pixel aspect ratio. I now know that this clip is a shot with a 1.5x lens. So I'll just do the 1.5. Okay. There you go, de-squeezed. And as you can see, it looks like it's overexposed. It's not. But I like to push the image as much as possible to have as much light coming in before, it gets totally ruined, you can say, or overexposed. I'll just copy this one. Actually, I'll copy this one. And then obviously, this one is much more exposed, so I'll have to bring down the exposure a lot more. Go back to exposure, HDR. Oh, sorry. Then I'll just bring it down, something like that. And honestly, sorry, I'll bring a better clip. Yeah, something like that. I think it looks good as it is. Maybe I'll bring up the saturation just to see the colors a little better. And go to temp. Maybe I'll do. So the reason why I have on 50 saturation when I do the temp and tint is so I can better see the colors. And then I'll bring it down afterwards. Maybe something like this. Yeah, I think that's good. Bring it down to 0. And then bring it up until I'm happy. Yeah. So that's it, really. It might be. Oh, and then obviously, if you want to add grain, sorry, I didn't do anything with the contrast. To be honest, I used to do a lot more with contrast, but I found that with the Panasonic Vlog, I'm quite happy with the contrast ratio that's already in it. So I don't feel the need to play around with it too much. If you like the way the camera looks contrast-wise, I don't really see the point. I won't push anything if there's no need to do it. Okay, but let's go back to clips. Click on the adjustment clip. So what I do, I don't have a black mist filter or pro mist filter. So what I sometimes do is that I add a glow effect. Or not actually a glow effect, I add something called box blur. And then I'll go on advanced controls, number of iterations. So now it gets even more blurry. So these are the settings you want. And then on global blend, I just bring it down to, this is how much blur you want. I just bring it to like something like this, like a 0.1, 0.15. And if you turn it on and off, this is with the blur, without the blur, you get this more dreamy, glowy effect, pro mist look that might take away a little bit of the digital sharpness. The only problem, as you should don't do it anymore because it takes so much time exporting out, and especially if you add grain. Let's just add some grain. Let's just see how it looks. So I don't really add that much glow or grain anymore because I find that first off, it takes too much time exporting, and also, especially with YouTube, it takes away the quality. But and I'm not sure if you guys are gonna be able to see it. But I'll usually use like a 35 millimeter, 400T. Do grain strength up to like 500. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I think the grain size is a little big. What if I just do normal 35 millimeter and then just bring the grain size down here? Grain strength up. That looks better, I think. Yeah, I think the 35 millimeter grain preset has smaller grain. But I found that I don't really use it that much anymore. So sorry if I went a little bit fast on some of the stuff, but I hope it was relatively useful and you learned something about it. Might be a little bit disappointing for some of you how little I actually do, but if it works, it works, and it saves me a lot of time by doing it this way. Okay, if you guys have any questions, do let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.